7 Days Rebellion and Song, and I'm standing here on the banks of the Royal Canal, just outside the town of Kilcock. And the song we're singing is the Boys of Kildare. Now, North Kildare has a long history of the aspirations for liberty and freedom of this country. And of course it was inspired by the Great Rebellion of 1798. One of the last battles of that insurrection was fought up at Ovidstown, which is about 10 miles from here. And had the Irish side won that, it would be a very different country. Because the men that led the rebellion of 1798 were very, very capable professionals. And they would have spared us the horror and destitution of the 19th century and the failure of the potato and the government's non-interference and allowing over 1.5 million people to perish and die. That was only half of the story. The millions were dispersed and disposed out of this country all around the world, and the authority in England delighted at the depopulation of Ireland. It was an easier country to control and to limit its rise. So when I look at the poets and the patriots of the 19th century, I see that all of them were men and women of peace. They did not want conflict. But you have to remember that the British Empire and English authority, the empire was built on violence. It was built on control, on military authority, and the suppression of native peoples around the world, all in the interests of the government authority in London. And of course, living beside that authority, it was so powerful that anything that Ireland did was, and any patriot that was involved in the aspirations for our freedom, was always carefully watched. But the millions who were dispersed and disposed to America, many of those men and women were professionals, and they wanted to redress the grievances and the horror that the Irish people had been condemned to in the 19th century. I'm always reminded that Daniel O'Connell, Charles Stewart Parnell, both of those men, Isaac Butt, sought to bring to Ireland a self-government, and through peaceful means, but they were all humiliated. And that's important to remember, because the humiliation of Dan O'Connell, who with his peaceful agitation to restore the Irish Parliament to Ireland, this man was threatened with mass murder in October of 1843. And that resonated with all the immigrants abroad. So anything they could do to help Ireland, they sought to do so, those who were patriotic and those who had the means to do so. And several great men came from this county. John Devoy, who spent most of his life trying to help this country win its freedom. John Kenny, who helped the Fenians. He helped Michael Davitt. He helped Charles Stewart Parnell. It mattered to him that he was helping Ireland and that he was helping to bring the freedom and liberty to this country. So Theresa Brayton was the same, who wrote this song. She wanted to write poetry to inspire those men and women that were involved in the insurrection of 1960. And in fact, she came home here, I think in 1912, to meet all of the leaders, because that generation had seen that no English authority would respond to Ireland's peaceful pleas for self-government and a parliament, restoration in Dublin. They had taken away the parliament in 1801 by bribery and corruption because they seen the country rise. It was always the policy in English authority to limit the rise of this country, because they knew the Irish people were capable and we were next door neighbours living beside neighbours from hell. So I want to also assure you when I speak about the Boys of Kildare that we're remembering Wolfe Tone, who's buried in this county. We're remembering the horror of Mullock Mast, which Theresa Brayton mentioned when people, men, women and children were murdered by Henry Sidney back indeed in the 16th century. It's sad to think that the years of horror that were inflicted on all parts of Ireland have never had any closure. There's never been an apology, there's never been remorse expressed by the highest in English authority. No words. So the Boys of Kildare in some way, it gives true recognition to the wonderful dedication Wolfe Tone, Lord Edward Fitzgerald, all of the men, John Kenny, John Devoy, and this county should be proud of all of them. And the Boys of Kildare, I think Theresa Brayton captured that. So enjoy the song and feel proud. Thank you for watching and listening.